Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, as Russia intensifies its attacks on Ukrainian cities, the leader of Ukraine speaks to Congress today, asking for more help for his embattled country. And we're going to hear from inside Ukraine about its defenses and military operations. Plus, the higher demands of the pandemic led to burnout for some healthcare workers.
You're taking care of people who are very sick from this pandemic, and then also being asked to take care of additional patients or work additional hours.
Find out what it will take to fix the ongoing issue. Then later,
in the morning when I rise,
we sit down with recording artist Linda Randall as she talks about her latest project, Pilgrim Journey. All these stories and more are coming up next from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin with the Russian military forces blasting Ukraine's capital region and other major cities today as they tried to crush a Ukrainian defense that has frustrated their progress nearly 3 weeks after invading. Even as Russia's assault intensifies, the president of Ukraine is set to appeal to members of Congress today for more help. Charlene Aaron has the story.
As the Russians are stalled outside Ukraine's capital city, Kiev, they're relentlessly bombarding the civilian population. Rockets, missiles, and bombs leaving significant damage. Residential neighborhoods, hospitals, and other civilians targeted. And Ukraine's leaders expect the onslaught to get worse. CBN's George Thomas is in Kiev.
The latest reporting from the Pentagon is that the Russians have launched over 900 missiles since the start of the war. One of those missiles hitting this multi-story apartment building on the west side of Kiev. You can still see the smoke billowing. This happened yesterday, and all the surrounding buildings as well. You can see their windows have been basically blown out, even to that building apartment over there. What you are seeing today is that because the Russians have failed over these many days to completely encircle and capture Kiev, that they are instead going after civilian targets. The mayor of Kiev has imposed a province-wide curfew. Nobody can go out of their homes until Thursday at 7 a.m. Why? Because the mayor fears that the next few hours are going to be probably the most dangerous hours for this city.
In the south, the fighting becoming more desperate. Today, a report from a regional Ukrainian official that the Russians are holding 500 hostages in a hospital in Mariupol. Ukrainian President Zelensky addressing Congress today in a virtual speech, thanking the U.S. for its help and asking for billions more in new support. With reports that Russian troops are low on morale over their lack of progress, Zelensky says Russia's demands in peace talks are sounding more realistic. But U.S. State Department officials urge caution.
We have yet to find a Russian interlocutor that is either able or willing to negotiate in good faith, and certainly not in the context of de-escalation.
On Tuesday, the leaders of 3 European Union countries, Poland, the Czech Republic, and Slovenia, met with Zelensky in Kiev in a bold show of support amid the danger. In Russia, 15,000 people have been detained for protesting the war in Ukraine. And the Russian TV producer who was arrested after protesting the war during a live broadcast was fined and released after a 14-hour interrogation, the Kremlin dismissing her protest as hooliganism. Meanwhile, 3 million have fled the war in Ukraine, creating the largest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. CBN's Operation Blessing is on the border, greeting refugees with gift bags full of snacks, hygiene items, and other supplies. And from a warehouse on the Polish side of the border, they're packing trucks full of crucial supplies and sending them into Ukraine.
These goods will be a real blessing to the people of Ukraine who really need it right now because there's a shortage in the shops. We have teams ready in Ukraine to distribute these goods. So it's amazing to see how God is bringing these strategic locations together and the people together to help make this happen.
Meanwhile, President Biden is expected to announce $800 million in new military aid to Ukraine. He'll go to Brussels next week for the NATO summit on deterrence and defense efforts against Putin's war. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
And George Thomas joins us now from Kiev. Senator George, there's reporting that Russia is attempting to deploy more troops to Ukraine to make up for losses. What are you hearing?
Look, Ephraim, if the numbers are to be believed, close to about 13,500 Russians have lost their lives in these 21 days since Russia's invasion. To put it into perspective, Ephraim, you look at the Afghan war during the Soviet and the Afghan war. Over a 10-year period, about 15,000 Russians died in that 10-year war. So in 21 days, they've lost about 13,000 people. Then you add the attrition numbers. Then you add those who have basically just given up their weapons, given up their tanks, in essence, abandoned those tanks and walked away. So this is why Russia is concerned. And there's some reporting that they're trying to bring troops from other parts of the region to the war theater, in addition, hiring Syrian fighters as well as mercenaries and contract killers to come get involved. Because the problem is, it's one thing when you invade a particular city or a town. It's another thing to hold it and then also continue to launch other counter offensive operations. It's a difficult thing. With 150,000 troops, it's very difficult to hold Europe's largest country, home to about 40 million people.
George, as you reported, Kiev is in the middle of a curfew. What impact is this having on Ukraine's military operations?
Yeah, as I mentioned in this report that Charlene put together today, the operations over the last 72 hours have been intense. You've seen an escalation on the part of the Kremlin to go after civilian targets. But I think also the other thing is that the reason for the curfew is the Zelensky government wants to go after these pockets, territory that has been under somewhat Russian influence. For example, the areas of Bucha and Irpin. Right now, there are counter-insurgency operations conducted by the Ukrainians to try to push the Russians back further and create more of a buffer between them and the capital city, Kiev.
George, I know you spent some time talking with key Ukrainian Christian leaders. What are they telling you?
It's absolutely amazing. In the midst of the war, and obviously they're concerned about their nation and their people and those that are suffering, but so many of the key leaders that I've been speaking to are saying that they are praying for a seismic, tectonic, spiritual breakthrough in Russia. They're praying that the sort of the spirit of Putinism, the Soviet mentality, this communist, sort of pharaoh mentality will come crumbling down. And they're praying for their fellow brothers and sisters in Russia and really for a breakthrough in the hearts and minds of Russia today. And they're dealing with a very, very difficult scenario and economic situation, just as the Ukrainians are.
We can see there are people working behind you. Real quick, what's going on?
Yeah, these are the folks from YWAM Kiev, Youth with a Mission. It's a global organization doing amazing work around the world. Well, for the last 20-some days, the folks here have been, they're feeding about 1,000 people per day. They've got, you've got diapers, you've got water, you've got food, you've got clothes. So they've been spending all this time putting all these things together, putting packets together and delivering them to the neighborhoods around their center. So tremendous work. I'm going to be doing a story on their great work in the days ahead on the 700 Club.
All right. Thank you. Looking forward to that report. Thank you so much, George, our senior international correspondent, reporting from Kiev today. I want to remind you that you can help Operation Blessings disaster relief efforts in this horrible war and humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. You can also call us at 1-800-700-7000 to do that and simply let it be known that you want to give to Operation Blessings Disaster Relief Fund. You can write us as well, CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, the zip code 23463. Simply note in the memo line of the check or in your correspondence, Disaster Relief Fund. As you can text as well, just text OB Crisis to 71777. And of course, you can visit our website, cbn.com, or Operation Blessings website, ob.org. Anything that you're willing to do is greatly needed and greatly appreciated. Coming up, healthcare workers are dealing with burnout since the pandemic. Many have actually left their jobs as a result. Now it can affect your healthcare. Find out how next.
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
During the pandemic, healthcare workers treated more patients and worked longer hours, leading to burnout. 20% have actually left their jobs in the last 2 years. America already faced a shortage of healthcare workers before COVID. Medical reporter Lori Johnson examines what it will take to fill the ranks now.
A major reason driving this crisis is the record number of elderly people in America. A huge generation of geriatrics with ever-increasing medical needs. At the same time, older healthcare workers are choosing to retire.
Healthcare has been experiencing a shortage of nurses and other healthcare workers for long before the pandemic. And we just expect that to intensify as baby boomers continue to age and as they continue to leave the workforce.
That's due to high burnout rates beginning before 2020. Then the pandemic made it even worse. Nearly 20% left their job in the last 2 years. The shortages run the gamut: lab technicians, aides, respiratory therapists, you name it. Experts tell lawmakers the U.S. needs 200,000 nurses per year to meet the increased need. And we face a shortage of up to 124,000 doctors by 2034.
Those numbers are scary because as you and I are all getting old, we will need care. And that care may not be there.
In one effort to get more doctors, medical schools are accepting more applicants. That's only part of the solution, however, as there's also a need to increase the number of physician residency positions.
Residency is the period of required training after medical school, but before doctors get their medical license and can practice on their own. Resident physicians generally train at teaching hospitals like Sentara Norfolk General for anywhere from 3 to 7 years, depending on their chosen field of medicine.
The federal government covers those costs for the most part at a price tag of about $1 million per resident. That allocation, though, has remained largely frozen since 1997, definitely not keeping up with the increased need.
For a while there was we built medical schools without increasing the residency training capacity, and there was a bottleneck.
That traffic jam could open up if Congress passes legislation to pay for another 14,000 residency positions. Some would be specifically for rural areas because after residency, doctors often stay put. Other new incentives may also help alleviate this shortage.
Often if you're in an underserved area, there's lots of loan forgiveness programs both through governments and states, but also through hospital systems.
Telehealth, one silver lining from the pandemic, allows fewer workers to see more patients. When it comes to nurses, one issue we found is that thousands of qualified nursing school applicants are being turned away. The blame is on enrollment caps, not enough full-time faculty, and a lack of clinical sites. To fix this and get more nurses into the field, some states are raising those caps, allowing part-time faculty to fill the gaps, and letting nursing students substitute clinical training with simulation hours. Meanwhile, hospitals do what they can to keep the nurses they have.
The 5% market increase and the benefits enhancements that we've just announced in the last few weeks are meant to ensure that we recognize our team members' contributions and that we remain competitive in the markets that we serve.
So while America invents new ways to attract and retain healthcare workers, young people who are wondering what they'll do when they grow up, and adults who might be looking to change careers may find healthcare appealing. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Still ahead, recording artist Linda Randall's new album. It is called Pilgrim Journey, and it's being described as having a good mixture of several genres. We'll talk with her about this new project coming up next. Stay with us.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Wednesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
Recording artist Linda Randall's latest project is called Pilgrim Journey. It's described by her label as a marriage of gospel, soul, blues, and American soundscapes, with the artist's signature warm, rich vocals on new arrangements of popular inspirational classic spirituals and original selections.
In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise.
The new project, Pilgrim Journey, it comes out in time for Black History Month. Tell me what sparked your interest and desire to do this?
During the pandemic, there was so much going on in our country and our nation with divisiveness and hate and anger, and it was just crazy. I just felt like this was a time to do these spirituals and maybe use this, asking the Lord to use this as kind of a tool to just inspire people, encourage people to kind of take this journey with me. Let's go back a little bit as we're trying to move forward. And I felt like this album has kind of helped me go back to my roots, and with the intention on taking this journey, but taking some new friends with me, some old friends and new friends. So yeah.
Did you have any thought as to why in the last 2 years we've seen such divisiveness? Were you asking why? What were your thoughts there?
I felt like this was just the season, this time where I felt like I came to the kingdom just for this, and that was to invite people to take this journey with me. So it wasn't even why as much as my calling was even more defined. I felt like I really came home with this record. It's next level for me. I don't know when I've sung so free and so uninhibited, and I don't care if people had me Southern gospel, black, whatever they had me. I just felt like I got to really be the person I was created to be. So yeah, it's so it's not why as much as it is, yeah, this is time.
I can't help but to ask, as I hear you say that, what do you think your mom and dad would be thinking about this project?
Woo! I just got swelled up with tears, but I don't want my lashes falling off. That's the truth. That just got me in my heart. I mean, my nickname was Chub. And I think my dad would say, Chub, baby, because he always said, if you don't mean it, don't sing it. And he would say, baby, you mean this. If anybody knows you, your parents know you. And my mom and dad knew me. And so I feel like they would say, okay, that's my Chub.
Let's dive into some of the tracks on the project. My favorite is the one I want to begin you sharing a little bit about is I Want Jesus to Walk With Me, and that's with you and Tommy Sims. I could listen to that over and over again. I hear my grandmother in your voice as you're singing.
Cool. I Want Jesus to Walk With Me is one of my favorites on the project as well. The emotion in that song, and I was thinking about our forefathers and our foremothers. When nobody was walking with them, when they had babies ripped from their arms at their breast, and I mean, as they were nursing and they were put on auction blocks and I'm at a loss for words. And the only hope they had was not a white man's savior, not a black man's savior, but Jesus, the Savior of the world. I want this to be an album of lament, an album of, yes, whether it's I need to ask forgiveness from someone or whatever, God. I also want it to be an album of healing and an album of hope. And that's exactly what this song does. And it just brings you to a place, I just feel as if we started this journey and you may feel like you're alone and you're just all by yourself. Nobody else walks with me. I want Jesus to walk with me on this pilgrim journey. It's a lonely place, and the slaves knew it better than anybody, but they knew they had the hope in Jesus, and so that is just a powerful piece. I love that song. I love it.
What's your prayer for this project?
My prayer is that those who would come to the table, like my song, Plenty of Good Room, there's room for everybody at the table, that they would come with an open mind and open heart, and they would join me on this journey. And I actually have the copy of this right here. I would love to see this in everybody's home, library, music catalog, whatever, because I think this is a timeless project that's going to reach a lot of people, and will get people maybe to start asking the hard questions. And what you have to do is stop thinking big picture, because you can't fix this world. But what you can do is go, who comes to my table every day, every week, every month, every year that doesn't look like me? And so I'm just hoping God will just blow this out of the park. I could see this actual production in churches all across the nation.
Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus.
Linda's project is available right now. For more uplifting entertainment news, be sure to join us in Studio 5 this evening. Actor Ryan Reynolds joins us with an inside look at some of the powerful themes in his latest film. Recording artist Maurice Griffin is here to share a miracle story behind his latest music, and we're traveling to New Orleans to celebrate its rich musical history. You can catch Studio 5 on the CBN News Channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern. You can also download the CBN News app and watch it on demand. Stay with us. Your Wednesday Word's coming up next.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
It's what starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Your news channel. Your shows, the stories you care about, anytime you want, anywhere you want. Download the CBN News app today.
Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is grace. We can all use more grace, and God does extend it. He's now calling on us to give that same grace to others. I know it may not always be easy, but it is indeed always necessary. With that word, I encourage you to make this a wonderful Wednesday and do what you can to make the rest of this week a wonderful week indeed. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online at cbnnews.com. We would love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at that address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you'll join us right here again, same time tomorrow. Stay up to date with CBN News at cbnnews.com. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye and God bless.